Featured on UFC Vegas 35, we have two back-to-back type of fights out there. Ryan Reynolds would approve, and this is one of them. It's at light heavyweight of all divisions. You have a surging Dustin Jacoby against a reeling Darren the Dentist Stewart. Matt, Darren the Dentist Stewart, great interview with the Fight Night Picks boys. I'd say boys, but me, man, the Fight Night Picks man. And listen, it was way before Fight Night Picks was bad news in terms of interviews, and you were guaranteed a loss. But if you do look at it, my gauge, and I'll admit it, for Darren Stewart is awful. Matt said before we started this video, and I'll steal his thunder, he said, I was going to say that too. I have it written down in my notes because sometimes I think he's going to be great. Sometimes I think he's going to be terrible. And he's usually the opposite of whatever I think. Sometimes he's working his boxing to great effect. He has a split decision loss to Kevin Holland. That was just last year. Like, it's crazy to think of that. And then you look at his performances against Eric Anders. And yes, traditionally the person that wins the first fight will win the rematch. But man, he did not look good. And I mean, he's been training recently out of Renegade BJJ. Who trains there? Good question. Aiden Lee trains there. Leon Edwards trains there. Fabian Edwards trains there. Who else? Kane Musa trains there. Matthias Frederick trains there. All good guys in and around the bigger weight classes. Now, yeah, Kane Musa, he's a little bit smaller. Aiden Lee, yeah, he's not that big, but still, those are great guys to train with. For Dustin Jacoby, coming out of Factory X, you're going to have Anthony Smith, Devontae Smith, not the guy that plays football, and Josh Fremd, great guys to train with for a fight like this. So, Matt, I have a really tough time with this one. I look at this fight the same way that I look at Dustin Jacoby's fight with Max Grecian, and I can scream and yell until the cows come home because Max Grecian won that fight based on control, based on total strikes, based on every single metric that you use to score a fight. However, Dustin Jacoby actually did a lot of positives in that fight that I think actually play into this one.
It's the problem with Darren Stewart. The highs are pretty high. Like, look at the Maki Pitolo fight. Gonna bust you up in my hands and then submit you. That's a pretty cool way to win. Probably my favorite way that a person can win. You look at, okay, maybe the Charles Byrd fight's not the greatest opponent, but still, he flatlined him in a pretty cool way. And even the Eric Spicely fight. Eric Spicely is a better fighter than the guy who was in the UFC, and I'm going to die on that hill. Maybe he's only like 5% better than the guy who was in the UFC, but still, you didn't see the best version of him. The guy who fought Eric Spicely and Darren Stewart was a really smart fighter. He defended the takedowns. He didn't throw this crazy amount of volume. He really made all of his shots count. But we barely see that fighter ever. And that's the problem. He's so inconsistent. And the issue now is Darren Stewart almost questions himself when he's getting into the pocket because for a lot of the times, he was always the more powerful striker. If we get into one of those 50-50 battles, well, I've got a decent chin and I've got more power than most guys at middleweight. I'm going to be able to put you down and probably put you away. But even look at the first Eric Anders fight. He hits Eric Anders, hurts Eric Anders, and then the first strike Eric Anders throws back his way, he then gets hurt. And I think the problem is Darren Stewart against bigger guys is just always going to have an issue. And this is the problem. What weight class is this fight at, Craig? It's not at middleweight. It's at light
205 pounds. Yep.
Exactly. A division that Darren Stewart does not belong in whatsoever. And again, I don't love Dustin Jacoby's game. I'm not going to lie. I don't think he's someone who's going to be in the top 15. Listen, he's got good Muay Thai, but I think he can get outstruck by better strikers in the UFC. I don't think he can go out there. Even a Paul Craig, for instance, I think would give Dustin Jacoby quite a bit of trouble just because
you're insane.
Again, he's a good striker, but the problem is when you're a specialist, I wouldn't even say he's an insane striker. Like Max Grecian could outstrike him on the outside a little bit. And I don't think Max Grecian's the greatest fighter of all times by any means. He's okay at best. So again, if you're getting outstruck by guys who are, again, okay at best, I am going to be concerned against a guy like Darren Stewart because this is the thing about Darren Stewart, and we always have to say it. He's always going to have that one-punch knockout chance. But and I think we both agree on this. We both hate picking guys whose only chance to win a fight is, hey, he could land that one big shot. And yes, that kind of is Jacoby's way to win also. But the difference is Jacoby can at least put combinations together. And the great thing about combinations is that even if I don't finish you, by the end of the fight, my damage and my output is going to be much higher than Darren Stewart's. Darren Stewart still is kind of that single shot striker. He's more of a counter striker. He'll kind of wait, move side to side, almost like a peekaboo type Mike Tyson. And then he's going to respond with big hooks. Unless he lands that one big hook, I really don't think he's going to be able to beat a guy like Dustin Jacoby. I worry about Darren Stewart's front leg because Jacoby has really good leg kicks. And after those leg kicks start eating him up, I really don't think Darren Stewart's going to have an answer for it.
I mean, if you look at it stat by stat, and I know we hate to do that, but this is one thing that I wanted to bring up. I know you like it too, because we can kind of dissect it and pick it apart, but I like going to that website, and a lot of people ask, well, where do you get it? Fightmetric.rds.ca. And then you go into upcoming fights, you go into the percentages of what these guys do in every fight. Now, Dustin Jacoby, we know he comes from that glory pedigree. He left the UFC almost like Chase Sherman did with BKFC. Only it worked for Dustin Jacoby to go to kickboxing. But if you look at it for Jacoby, through his overall body of work under the UFC banner, 84% of the time he's striking, 15% of the time he's going for takedowns. That makes up 99% of his attack. Where's the extra 1%? I don't know, because they don't have it as submissions. But if you look at it for Darren Stewart, 45% of the time striking, 47% of the time takedown, 6% of the time is submissions. And for Dustin Jacoby, he beats out Darren Stewart in every single striking metric except strikes absorbed per minute. However, his defensive metric in terms of percentage is at a 59% clip to Darren Stewart's 49% clip. So I don't like those striking numbers from Stewart. Now, could he go out there and wrestle? Well, it looks like he's been training at Renegade BJJ with the Tom Breezes and the Edwards brothers. And I can go down through the list of guys that are successful implementing the game plans that we've seen Darren Stewart use before and have success with. It's just the inconsistency that scares me away too. I look at the odds. Jacoby opened a minus 175 favorite. He's a minus 184 right now. Stewart opened him plus 150. He's at about a plus 152. Over on Tapology, total votes. Holy smokes. 946 total votes, 86% Jacoby, 73% by decision. Ooh. For the 14% that have Stewart, 45% by decision, 40% by knockout. That surprises me that the fans are that much on Jacoby, like that large of a percentage. Based on those odds, I will go with Jacoby based on the previous track record or the recent track record. Darren Stewart just has to show it to me again that he can prove to be consistent at 205 pounds too.
So I kind of agree with you that I'm surprised so many people have picked Jacoby, but the only thing is I'm surprised more people haven't picked him to win by finish. Darren Stewart has not shown the ability to eat power shots at 205 pounds, and that's something Jacoby's always going to have over him. Like, Jacoby's used to fighting the bigger guys because he has in the past, and physically he will be the much bigger guy, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if Dustin Jacoby is able to eat up that front leg. That really limits the movement of Darren Stewart, that maybe he can land a big shot and finish him. Again, I'm not going to say, oh, Dustin Jacoby's going to knock out Darren Stewart, but I wouldn't be all that surprised if he was able to win by finish. The official prediction, though, has to be Jacoby. Again, I do like the combinations, and I do like the leg kick quite a bit.
And I like his takedown defense too. I mean, that's one thing, especially against Max Grecian. Grecian was going for the takedown over and over and over again. Dustin Jacoby's takedown defense in the UFC, it's only 61%, but it's gotten better over time. And I really did like it in that fight. He's looked good lately. Iwan Kutsalaba, he just kind of outlasted him in that fight. So Dustin Jacoby, that's the pick from both of us, Matt. I do love this card. Our next fight, we have Sam Alvey, Wellington Turman. You're not going to want to miss that. Make sure you keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. And as we always say, let's get into it.